small and medium enterprises. And the topic is fire safety basics for small shops and offices. Okay? And with me, I have a guest. His name is Lucky Onoigboria. And he is a certified QHSSE expert, ISO 9001 QMS auditor with over 20 years of cross-industry experience in safety, security, and risk management. But give me just 1 minute and I'll be right back.
Lagos, Nigeria. Safety training continues, and hopefully Fayo Williams gets to join us again on the program. She said earlier she had introduced the guest, Lucky Onoigboria, is very much in the building this afternoon. He's not alien to the microphone. Good afternoon, Lucky.
Thank you.
How are you? How are you today?
We are doing great.
Well, it's good to have you again in the studio. So, fire may seem like a distant threat until it happens in small shops and office environment where space is limited and equipment is often used intensively. The risk of fire is more common than many realize. A single faulty wire on a tended appliance, improperly stored flammable item can lead to devastating consequences, injury, property loss, or even loss of life. Small shops and offices are often bustling with activity, and while business owners focus on daily operations, fire safety can easily be overlooked. Yet, the danger is real. Electrical faults, flammable materials, poor evacuation planning, or simply negligence can turn a normal day into crisis. Now, let's get talking, Lucky.
Thank you.
Fire is one thing that no one ever want to experience. It's not what you even want to experience at all. Whether witnessing by just watching, by seeing it, or happening to you personally. But what are some of the common causes of fire in small shops and environment people overlook?
Thank you so much, Mr. Iwo. Lagosians, happy new month. And welcome on board Safety Train. The cause of fire in small businesses are also the causes of fire in larger ones, as the case may be. They almost seem similar. Yes. Just that I think the major difference, just like when you are saying small business, between 1 to 20 persons or more, then the bigger ones could have 100, 200, 500 based on whether they are multinationals or indigenous companies, based on the size, actually, based on the staff strength. So that's how we rate whether it's small or big. Now, the causes of fire could just be the same. Carelessness, putting things on the wrong places, misplacements of things, the one we call poor housekeeping, leaving flammables to burn, and just any of those things. At times, it could be arson. That means intentionally breaking into, intentionally setting fire on a building or a place, so that to carry out some nefarious acts. Basically, there are different classes of fire. The class A, the one we call the common clothes, plastics, and what have you, paper. Then the B, class B, we have basically chemicals, petroleum products, including oil and gas, as it were. Class C could be for the live electric fire. Then D could be fire by combustible metals, while E could be kitchen fire. Okay. Now, any of these could actually happen in a small business. Like I said, it can also happen in it can be replicated in a big business. So, more often than not, placing things in the wrong place, carelessness, as it were. In those days, we used to have this issue of boiling ring. Leaving the boiling ring over, it overboils. Even when we're in school, it overboils, the water dries up.
And then it melts the bucket. The plastic.
The plastic bucket, and it caught fire, and the building start to burn. That could just be carelessness. Then at times you have overloading sockets, electrical socket. People load, they put multi-socket on top of another one. Extension box is being overloaded. It sparks off heat. And that also takes us to the elements of fire. Fire needs just basic 3 things to run. I mean, the first, some people call it ingredients, as if they are trying to cook a kind of recipe, a kind of soup or something. So the ingredient, basically, you have oxygen, you have heat, source of heat, then fuel. Unfortunately, oxygen is always available. The atmospheric air have 21% oxygen, which is always available. Of course, that is where the human receive their breath, as it were. Then, fuel, like we have said, anything you see around, whether they are plastic, whether they are clothes or whatever, computer, electrical device, they are all kind of fuels. So the major thing there is the source of heat, which is a bit rare. But often more than not, when you have a combination of these 3 in perfect combination, you have fire. So carelessness is one, overloading electrical circuits, placing combustible in wrong places, and maybe a willful destruction, like in Axim. That happened during unrest or during riots and some other sundry times.
But then how can all of these be avoided?
Yeah, as if you are solving mathematics equation. Whatever lead to the solution is like you are trying to trace it back.
True.
When you place things in the right places, fire may not occur. When you don't overload circuit, they may not overheat and cause when you are not careless about what you are doing. As a matter of fact, I have seen a fellow who was trying to iron, I think it's a tailor or into fashion design or something. They plugged the iron when the power went off. So I thought they went to eat or something. But they overstayed. By the time they came back, the iron has melted, the fabrics caught fire, and the entire shop was on fire. So when you know you are going to eat and you are not sure when to come back, you unplug the iron. When you are leaving home, put off the electrical appliances. The same thing to small offices. Like I said, you ought to apply to big offices. So big offices are not immune to fire. As a matter of fact, because of the number of persons, like I said earlier, the major difference between small and big is the number of staff strength, number of persons that work there. So even because of the number of persons that work in big offices, there's this high propensity to even have fire. But today we are looking at small and medium scale enterprises, so we'll try and limit our discussion there. So when you are leaving the office, put up the electrical appliances. If you are not sure, go back. I think that is the basic safety advice we have had for donkey of years. We were taught that in primary school. If you are not sure, don't assume. Go back and put it up. So good housekeeping also means putting things in the right places, ensuring that things that are flammable are not kept in the open. For example, we have seen people keeping jerry cans of petroleum products, maybe PMS, AGO, DPK, putting them in light places. People, in short, we haven't had where children drink kerosene.
Oh, wow.
This is a different issue completely. This one is not even fire. This one is completely health issue.
Health hazard.
That can lead to death. So, placing combustible in controlled places so that it doesn't catch fire. So, again, good housekeeping. Ensure that things are kept in the right places. So, those are preventive ways that small and medium scale enterprises can use to prevent fire.
Yeah, the essence of fire extinguishers and small detectors cannot be overemphasized. We can't overflog it. But then, why is it important to regularly inspect and maintain fire extinguishers and smoke detectors? I mean, even if you do not use it, why do you have to service?
Yes, I think even the Factory Acts 1987 reviewed 1990 and more recently too, is asking us to ensure that firefighting equipment are regularly maintained. Hence, there is need to maintain them regularly. Even without having the regulation to push for that, it is commonsensical. Although, like they say in the local parlance, common sense is not common at times. So it look commonsensical. These are equipment that need to fight fire or to detect fire. Fire extinguishers are used to fight fire. Smoke detector, fire alarms are used to detect fire, the presence of fire. So if they are not serviced, they might malfunction. That means the house can even be engulfed and the smoke detector fails to activate. It fails to work. So they need to be serviced regularly.
How often?
Well, based on the Factory Act, I think twice a year, twice annually.
Okay.
Where I've also had people complain about the economy. Oh, they don't have money to pay staff, salary. Oh, how can they serve? I say, well, please just make a budget for them. Safety should not be an afterthought. Otherwise, the building would have been on fire before you remember. So they should be serviced so that they should not so that they won't malfunction. On the May day, on the day. I know this is a Julia day. So on the May day, so that they don't malfunction.
Okay, safety shouldn't be an afterthought. You really need to pay attention to that line of thought. Lagos, Nigeria. This is Safety Train here on Lagos Traffic Radio, 96.1 FM. I have been speaking with Lucky Onoigboria. He's been taking us through, safety tips as regards fire and how to, curtail or even avoid it. All right, then let's quickly tell you what the roads are looking like. I mentioned earlier that it's busy from Yanoura end all through to Ifako Bridge, where the rehabilitation work is ongoing. So please be patient. I would like to know what's going on Ikurudu Road. Talking about the busy movement I noticed connecting Ojota interchange. Do let me know where the backlog is so we can escalate from this end. Okay, so Idiroko to Ojota. Oh wow, it's even extended beyond New Garage. Idiroko now to Ojota is busy. Well, please do let me know as soon as this build up fizzles out for the traffic managers within that area. Awotungashi, if you are listening, please do confirm to us what's going on within that zone. It's already busy on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway. Ikorodu Road should have been an alternative. Please, let's do everything humanly possible just so Lagosians can have a good time navigating the Lagos metropolis. All right, then, let's get back to Safety Train. Lucky Onoigboria is still very much with me in the studio. Lucky, how often should businesses carry out fire safety inspections or drills?
Yeah, as much as possible. As much as possible.
We know that of fire extinguisher and smoke detectors should be at least twice in a year. How about these drills?
Yeah, in some organization, based on the kind of risk that is inherent,
okay,
maybe what they trade on. For example, you have high risk, mid risk, medium risk, and low risk as it were. I wouldn't want to name products now, so I don't look as if we are trying to.
Oh, can you walk us through? What these things actually mean?
For example, if you work in a power station, it's a high risk area.
True.
Everyone could be electrocuted. If you trade in oil and gas, it's a high risk area.
Okay.
Others like normal.
Maybe we need to re-echo that because we see fuel tankers, fall off the road, and then we see people trying to scoop.
that has been a tragedy. It has been one incident too many.
We probably need to re-echo.
Each time it happens, people going to school for it. We've been on this side of the fence shouting, in short, literally shouting ourselves out. People should not scoop for it. As it were, you see a truck of PMS falls off or capsized, as the case may be. People rush there. Somebody say, "Oh, it's economy." Well, economy with one want to hit himself, with one hates himself because of the poor economy. It's like one committing suicide. It's as simple as that. Because when you scoop fuel from the floor, it easily ignites. Because just look at the fire triangle I mentioned. You have the heat source, the fuel source, and the oxygen. It could easily spark off. Sparking off means you wipe out a whole line of people, whoever is around that vicinity. Because the fume, the vapor would have been very thick in the air when you have a tank carrying a PMS or AG or DPK, collide or capsize, as the case may be. So it's a high risk. It becomes a very vulnerable source. It becomes a high risk area which people should avoid rather than going there to scope. So we have been shouting from this side of the fence. I just pray that people will hear it, because once we had in Lagos, and that time we had in Niger State. I think it was in Delta State. I think of late we had somewhere, whether in Port Harcourt, whether in Rivers State or something. So you look and see why we are shouting here in Lagos. Some other people at the other end of the fence are not even hearing what we are saying. Or maybe it's still the economy, I don't know. Economy will not tell somebody to jump down from the skyscraper and break his leg because the economy is bad. So whatever it is, people should try and make do with what they have so that they don't expose themselves to unnecessary danger.
All right, then. So what are the key components of a good fire evacuation plan for small offices or retail spaces?
Yes, the first thing, as part of fire evacuation plan, such building should normally have an inlet and an outlet, like an entrance and an exit, at least two, minimum of two. So that in case there's fire on one end, you could go to the other. We have had too many cases where it's only one entrance You understand? It's only one entrance. I know property constraint, land constraints in Lagos and elsewhere, most mega cities of the world. But as much as even for the real estate developers, for the builders, for the landlords, they should ensure that no matter how small an apartment is, it should have at least 2 exits. That means an entry and an exit, maybe one at the front or one at the back. Even if it's a flat, they should have a front door and a back door. Just in case of emergency coming from front door, you could escape. That is number 1. Then 2, everybody that come into an office, particularly for the small businesses, should have a place where names are written. For example, they sign in, or even if it's me writing, manually, so that in case there's an issue, we evacuate to the muster point. That means they should have a safe point where they can run to, so that there should be a roll call of the list of people, even if they are visitors. Their name should be signing. So that in case something happens, we evacuate to the muster point. Muster point is a place of refuge, a safe place where we can stay, usually at the front of the office. No matter how small it is. So people could have such a list where they write names, so that people could evacuate. Then again, we talk about servicing fire equipment, fire extinguishers, fireball. If they have mobile vehicle for that, well, I wouldn't think the small and mediums could be able to afford that. But if they have, they should also service them so that they could be afford. Above all, they should have the number of fire service for emergency response. They should have that. So if fire extinguisher fail, fireball fail, they can't put out the fire, they should be able to call fire service.
All right, then. Let's look at the legal fire safety requirements that business owners in Nigeria must comply with.
Yes. The fire service, fire and rescue service, they are one of their roles is to ensure building code. They ensure building code, whether for offices or residential areas. But at times you wonder how compliant are people on that. Again, for a small and medium scale enterprise, they should have basic firefighting equipment, fire extinguisher, fireball, and maybe this just small thing. I'm not talking about the big truck now or something. The basic thing they can use to combat fire, and they ensure that there is this alertness, there is this awareness that fire can occur. So because of that, they have to engage in regular drill. So those are basically ways in which they can combat or evacuate when fire occurs.
All right, then. So in what ways can overloaded electrical outlets or faulty wiring contribute to fire outbreaks?
Yeah, I tried to explain that earlier. When you have heat is a major component of fire. It's a major component of fire. I mean, it's a major element in fire for fire to take place. When you have an overloaded circuit or cable or cable bringing forth heat, as it were, when it's overloaded, it generates massive heat. That can lead to the cable getting burnt. The plastic side can get burnt. The wires can, touch themselves and spark up fire. Of course, there is a fuel around. Like I said, the cabinet you have in the house or in the office, the clothes materials, cutting materials, tables and chairs, they are all fuel in the real sense of it. They are all fuel. Even if they are painted and decorated, they could easily spark up fire, and get engulfed from fire. So oxygen, like I said, atmospheric oxygen. Okay, atmospheric oxygen is readily available. Like I said, it's 21% of the air the atmospheric air we breathe in. So if a circuit is overloaded, there is tendency to generate heat, which is a major component for fire to occur.
All right, then at this point, let me bring Fayo in at this point. Okay, so Fayo, we have been talking about fire safety, and how it can be curtailed and managed. Lucky has been taking us to the classroom, for about 25 minutes now. You are an expert in the safety area. Talk to me about fire disaster in Lagos in recent time. I think the Lagos government has been, doing so much as regards curtailing fire outbreak, if you ask me, in Lagos especially.
I would agree with you, Taiwan. Thanks for holding forth. I would say that the emergency response in Lagos is quite top-notch. I've had reason to call 112, several times, and not only are they courteous, not only do they respond in time, at times the next day there's this evaluation call that comes in.
Oh, nice.
Yes, to ask whether the response was to our expectation, and that is very good. So with regards to fire outbreaks, center of Lagos has been a big culprit,
Amazing.
Areas around Isaleko, the Mandilas building and co. And we have a whole lot of small shops in those areas. So I don't know whether, Lucky has also emphasized the issue of inflammable materials and liquids. I recall one Christmas where firecrackers, bangers, and co set off a huge conflagration, if I can put it that way. That's big English.
Yeah.
A huge fire. So when people are keeping things supposed to be for mining, supposed to be for, use chemicals that they don't know about, and they keep them closed, they keep them in the wrong kind of conditions. We know the temperatures, the ambient temperatures in Nigeria can be pretty high.
Yes.
So these things can cause a fire hazard. But I would say the emergency response in Lagos State is really top notch, and things can only get better. People out there, please do not be hostile to your rescuers. Don't tell them you are just coming, your water is finished. Water will finish now. It's one tanker. You understand? We're supposed to have hydrant where they can go and, put their hose and get a refill. But we all know that public water supply, it has not been, 100%. It's available in some places, but not 100%. So we need to be more courteous in appreciating those who risk their lives, to put up these fires, to get people and assets out of the fire at times. So that's what I'll say.
Maybe that's one thing you stakeholders can actually pitch to the government, in terms of evaluation and things they can do better to help manage fire disaster in this part of the world. I mean, water corporation in the past used to be a big thing, and with the way things are going now, you hardly even hear about them. It feels like the agency is not even doing anything. They are not even existing. They are existing.
In a local government like Apapa, I understand the water supply, is pretty good.
Water works, I understand. Water works, but we really need
to go around, more. And I'll get back to Lucky, but I think you need to have a traffic update.
Yes, basically, I talked about that earlier. So traffic from airport through Obafemi Awolowo connecting Rodino, Lokoko from Otedala all the way to Mowe is looking quite okay at this time.
Thank you very much, Taiwo, and thanks for staying tuned to Safety Train. So if you want to call in, you can dial the number 0809-9120-777, or in the alternative, you can dial 091-5387-7127. What has been your experience in your shopping mall, in your neck of the woods? Have you had any particular shop? Maybe they're dealing in gas refill, refilling of cylinders. Have they been careless? Has it caused a fire? Did they have the right equipment? Tell us your experience so that we can inform micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises that fire safety na koko. Can we just put it that way so that Ekule will hear and tell the one outside? Fire safety na koko, very, very important. But Lucky, one thing is that if you don't train them, don't blame them. So how can the staff of MSMEs, I'm talking about Onoigboria and sales girl that is just there in the boutique, how can they get training on basic fire safety in order to reduce panic and injury whenever there's a fire emergency?
Yes, thank you so much. Training is administrative control. Fire will identify as a major hazard. So, of course, groups could put themselves together to attend training. Of course, but our Fayo here is a safety
we are there. We are here.
So we don't need to look at it. The song said, look no further.
So it's like association of the Market Women's Association, the Association of Okada Riders, the Association of Vulcanizers. Why don't we have that going on? You guys can approach the safety professionals, and in groups we can get this training, well done. So, Lucky, any other thing to say like about
estates,
that?
As you mentioned the associations, we can also look at estate. Living together.
Yeah.
So they could also invite professionals to take them on basics fire training.
That's right.
The issue is knowledge is power. When you know what to do in an emergency, the fear or fright will reduce when it does happen. But if you don't know what to do,
the panic is much. Times 10.
My mom is old now.
10x.
It's about 90 now. He used to tell us that whatever you don't know is senior to you.
Whatever you don't know is senior to you. Yeah. That is a wonderful way of putting it.
It's about 90 now.
So
that is the way it is. If you don't know, you panic. Some people develop heart attack and fall down.
Can you imagine?
Fire. So the reality is how to use extinguisher, how to use fireball, how to prevent fire by basic good housekeeping.
Keeping the combustibles away, source of heat away, separating them
so that they will not cause fire. So fire is preventable. Since it's preventable, we must all work towards eliminating fire. Don't run out to scoop fuel. I think we have said that. Like I told said earlier, we'll be shutting ourselves out at this side of the media. Of the media.
Don't go if a tanker overturns. That is not the time to scoop fuel. Fuel is
run for your dear life.
Highly inflammable substance. It can just do bow now in your ears. But finally, Lucky, we are at the dying minutes of this program. I would like you to give just 2 tips to small business owners who are just starting, who setting out to put their shop together. They've paid money for the rent of the landlord. They've got shelf. They put all their jacquard and Adireoni stones and also there. Now, 2 tips for them to prevent fire hazard and stay safe. And finally, you say goodbye in your native language.
Okay. The first tip there is to ensure that there is proper keeping of things. Like we said, don't put combustibles where they will be exposed that can lead to fire. The other thing is to ensure you have at least minimal fire prevention, like fire extinguishers, like fireball. It will be of no use telling a small escape business to go and buy a fire truck. It doesn't seem feasible. But then also have the emergency number of Lagos State Fire Service. I must give a shout out to the director, Ms. Margaret Adesheye, and even my friend, the PRO, Mr. Shakiro.
Yes, they're doing a good job.
A great job. A great job.
When you give a woman a job now, let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, I give it up for her and for the rest women doing well.
We want to hear your goodbyes now.
Okay.
From your side of the universe.
From my side in the From Ekoma, okay.
Kai. I can't even repeat it. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an exciting session on Lagos Traffic Radio this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. I was saved by Taiwo Barua, who stepped in very swiftly when there was a small emergency, though not a fire emergency. My name remains Fayo Williams, and I'm available across social media on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram at Fayo Williams. This program was sponsored and supported by Rely Supply Limited, providers of first aid boxes and training. For brand promotion or access to our services, you can dial 081 81 31 3156. Till I come your way again, it's via con Dios, which means go with God.
Don't you think it is better to get the updates fast and undiluted from a trusted and reliable source than to hear it from just any other station? Get the authentic traffic report from Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, moving Lagos forward.
Dear Lagosians, a lot is happening around us and we have to be alert always.